Good afternoon. How's it going out there, everyone? Welcome back here to a Sunday, about 1 p.m. here, California time, May 11th, 2025. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. We appreciate you. 1.7 earthquake across the Hawaii area. One of the latest quakes here. Looks like maybe Kilauea Volcano is just about ready to ramp up here as far as the next stage in the eruption. I was just looking at the deformation data here. This shows the past 2 days of inflation. Obviously, we've been going up since about the 6th of May, since our last eruption. This is the pause, and this is the inflation. We're matched here at the previous level observed leading up to the eruption. So that should kick off here at any moment, possibly throughout the day today. We'll take a quick look here at the summit area webcam. There is some fountaining going on there, it looks like, so it's just about ready, or maybe some fountaining, a little bit of overspill there, but should see the eruption soon, very soon, probably maybe by the end of this update video. And that's at Kilauea Volcano on the Big Island. As far as earthquake activity goes here across the states, one more earthquake around the Kentucky area. This is a 2.8. This is further up north from today's or from yesterday's earthquake outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. There, 4.1 earthquake shaking the entire region up. That earthquake was felt fairly broadly across the area. Let me show you guys real quick the intensity map and how far it was felt. Now, some folks reported feeling it all the way up to New York and Boston area. That's very slim pickings up there as far as the reports go. The majority around the area of the epicenter. Now, 4.1 earthquake, or 4.1 earthquake, not that strong of an earthquake, right? But anywhere east of the Rockies there tends to feel these earthquakes, even if they're a smaller magnitude like this on a larger scale. And this area is in a seismically hazardous zone. They can get some upper fours out here. It's been a little while since we've even seen a 4-pointer in this area. New Madrid seismic zone sits over here. Now, this is the hazard map showing where earthquakes can happen and historically have happened. I pulled up this map right here. This is the historical catalog of 6.0 earthquakes and above since the records have been kept here at the USGS. And, of course, as you can see, nothing above 6.0, not even close to that there around the Knoxville area. I think the upper fours are about as strong as they get. Down southeast here around the Charleston, South Carolina region, this area can get some big earthquakes. In fact, 1886, a 7.0 earthquake struck down there. So a little bit of time has passed, right, since that big earthquake. Also, an area over here called the New Madrid seismic zone can get some even bigger earthquakes. Look at this, 8 earthquakes above 6.0, the largest there being a 7.5, two 7.5s. In fact, 1811 and 1812 marked a series of large events there in the 7 and 6 range. Now, they believe this could be a little bit higher than the 7.5, but even a 7.5 would be tremendously damaging in today's infrastructure out there. A lot of population density has changed, right, since 1812. We're living here 200 and something years further into the future. Got to watch the New Madrid seismic zone. It can get some big earthquakes out here, and it has been showing some signs of some earthquake activity out there. This is just the last 7 days. Couple twos. If you look at the last 30 days, got about, we'll zoom in here, about 20 earthquakes or so of various magnitudes up in the upper 2 range and a bunch of little ones in there as well. Just a friendly reminder that these events are in the future, but no telling when. Who knows when it's going to happen. All right, let's go ahead and back out and go to the current data here from the USGS. A little bit further earthquake activity up there in Kentucky. It's, again, north of the region yesterday, but it's been active out here in general across the zone. And when it's like that, I think we definitely need to keep an area there on the New Madrid seismic zone. Keep an eye on that region. Also some areas upstream here maybe around New York. They can get some big earthquakes out there as well. Just real quick recap. Up around Boston area, a 6.5 earthquake struck in 1638. Now, that is a long time ago. A lot of time has passed since some big earthquake activity out there. That may be getting ready here for some larger movement. All right, Texas oil fields rocking and rolling with 36 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. A lot of earthquake activity out here. We're starting to notice the weak areas and fault systems start to wake up here that really have not been active in quite a long time. And that's all due to, the North American plate on the move here. If you look at the general plate movement, we've had a lot of activity down south, within the last couple weeks. You know, that big earthquake down here off the South America area. Well, the general motion of the South America plate is up north here. We've noticed a lot of earthquake activity around the Caribbean plate as well. That gets squeezed in between the South America and the North American plate up here to the north. Looks like we're starting to see some of the train effects here, the migrational pattern of stress and strain along the plates here along the North American plate recently. And that's starting to show across the oil fields, up across the east, through the Appalachian Mountains. And even the west coast, the Cascadia subduction zone, seeing a lot of tremor activity here in the last couple days. Noted a decent amount. We'll check that out here in just a little bit. So keep an eye here on the west coast. Even though it's showing some signs here, the tremor activity increasing, we have yet to see any dynamic uptick here in Southern California. It's all been mostly smaller microquake activity. A couple events there from yesterday in the 2 range on the Imperial Fault south of the border. Aside from that, just a handful of pretty much typical earthquake activity that you would see on any given day out here in Southern California. So nothing of abnormal movement there for now. Let's see, along the creeping segment of the San Andreas Fault, a couple smaller quakes. San Francisco, absolutely quiet again. There's that one earthquake outside of Willows last night, little 2.7. I did not feel that. I live just outside this area here. And it's fairly deep, 14 miles deep there, and I believe that has a part in the strain that's being produced out here across the Cascadia subduction zone. Let me show you guys the tremor map here. We'll pull up the last week. This is from yesterday. And that was actually a considerably high number, 612 epicenters of tremor across the area of the Cascadia. Now, if we add in the last week here, that bumps up the number a little bit, but the majority of the tremor activity occurred yesterday. So this is movement tremor being recorded by very sensitive it's kind of like a low vibrational frequency that's being picked up by these monitors. And this is a sign here that the slippage is going on down dip, downstream there of the locked area. Now, the locked area sits further up from the tremor, but when the tremor occurs, obviously that means this region offshore here, where the strain and the bending of the plate, so to speak, is happening, it could potentially lead up to the next big earthquake. Well, it is leading up to the next big earthquake. The question is when. But I believe that deeper earthquake down here at the northern Sacramento Valley is somewhat of a result of the strain that can happen in and around the tremor zones. A lot of times when tremor activity stirs up, we see elevated earthquake activity upstream just because the stress is increasing in that region. It makes sense to see earthquake activity. And that's what we've noted here in the last 24 hours just offshore Northern California at the extreme southern end of the Cascadia megathrust area. If we look back in the last 7 days, this is a little bit higher than normal in terms of the multitude counts that we typically see out here as far as earthquake activity in a week's time period. So the tremor activity has led to increasing strain earthquake activity. It's been noted up here across the Washington area as well, with quite a few earthquakes happening upstream from the tremor. This is about 27 miles deep into the subduction zone area. And it's on the move. The Cascadia is definitely building up some steam right now. We'll see what it looks like a little bit later on this evening when the tremor count comes in, which is pretty much around 6 or 7 o'clock this evening, local time here, California time. Let's see what we got here for the Washington area. There's a couple of those quakes there in the last 24 hours. This one's, again, fairly deep, 27 miles deep there, associated with the subduction zone of the Cascadia, not surface fractures. But we can see these surface fractures increase in earthquake activity as a result of what's going on dynamically out there across the Cascadia. Yellowstone National Park, nothing showing up there, but I do want to double check the Yellowstone overview. This is a simplified layout of the seismograph stations there around the Yellowstone caldera in the black line and Yellowstone Lake over here in the blue. Very simple, but it's easily visual and seeing if there's any swarms, any unusual activity out there. Couple earthquakes overnight, looks like, up around the Madison Creek area. Or Maple Creek, excuse me. Madison River, Maple Creek up here. Either way, those two charts showing a little bit of earthquake activity right here. This is thunderstorm activity from last night or yesterday afternoon, early evening as well. A lot of storms popped up there and blew through the area. We may see that again today, and that will show up as that type of signal across the stations that are picking it up. Almost looks like we've seen some this morning here. All right, let's see what else we got here across the world. This earthquake here, ooh, look at that. Very close here to the subduction zone of the Nankai Trough. Now, that is a pretty deep earthquake here, 257 miles deep for a 4.0, located underneath this area, associated with the Izu Trench. But I guarantee you that earthquake right there, dynamically increasing the strain across that Nankai Trough. And I've been talking about it for a while. It's building. Occasionally we get swarms down here south and a lot of activity, even some deeper movements here into the Nankai Trough. But it has yet to produce any megaquakes. But I guarantee you that's building up here. Got to watch that closely. Up along the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, a couple earthquakes there. One from last night, one from this morning, it looks like, 264 miles deep into the subduction zone further up north. A lot of deeper activity. That means a lot of strain building here across this area of the Pacific Plate and the Nankai Trough Zone. Goodness. Up along the Aleutian Trench here, 4-pointer from early this morning, 47 miles deep. The rest of the area of Alaska, typical movement. Nothing of any abnormal activity to report there for now. And let's see what we got here across the rest of the globe. New Zealand. Some older activity from early this, well, looks like late last night, maybe a 3-pointer. Some deeper activity with a 4.6 along the Kermadec Trench. A little bit of swarming going on there across the Vanuatu area, but that's very common. Nothing major going on there for now. Some migrational pattern here of earthquakes stretching up along the Java Trench off the coast of Sumatra, where a 5.8 earthquake struck here this morning. USGS reporting that as a 5.8 as well. That is 58 miles deep there into the northern end of the Java Trench. Might want to watch this area. It can produce some, man, it can produce big earthquakes. It looks like there's a little bit of aftershock sequences there. We'll have to watch that, see if the numbers don't start inching up in terms of the magnitude count or the magnitude level. Those could be foreshocks. Some deeper activity, it looks like, around the Turkey area. Let's see what we got over there. 4.4 earthquake. That's, well, this is from this morning in Romania. Okay. That's that earthquake that we're seeing there. Listed as a 4.4. USGS reporting that as a 4.2. Either way, at least it's being listed. Fairly deep earthquake there. Just checking out the Santorini, Greece area. This is a station there across the Santorini volcano caldera that's been having a, it's calmed down, but about a month or so ago, we were seeing hundreds and hundreds of earthquakes every day. Everyone thought it was leading up to an eruption. Nothing happened, but we're still seeing earthquake activity there on any given day, with an occasional 3, maybe an occasional 4. But nothing escalating there for now as far as the that earthquake swarm goes, because that's one heck of a swarm. Something's going on here with this station viewer. It's not loading the earthquakes and whatnot, so we'll let that fix itself maybe. Aside from that, let's see here. There's some of the earthquake activity around the Santorini, Greece area and south along the plate border there. The Atlantic Ocean, absolutely quiet. Nothing going on there. South America has been an area of interest as well, with a lot of activity south here, where that 7-pointer struck a week or so ago. Got a little bit of movement happening along the Peruccioli Trench, swarming up north. Quite active in this area, including a 2.7 right now. Might be an area of some larger movement here soon. Very notable here on the USGS map here. When this thing moves, a lot of times these areas have not had big earthquake activity in a while. obviously can lead to that. And the Peru Chile Trench is one of those subduction zones there where it doesn't take hundreds and hundreds of years for strain to build up. Right, it's a major subduction zone. On average, this is probably minimal, 79 mm per year. Certain areas may see higher, but it does build up a lot more strain and stress compared to areas up along the Pacific Plate, where it's not necessarily a subduction zone here across California. Up north of Cascadia, yes, but along that transform boundary, not a whole lot of subducting going on. That's probably a good thing there, or else we'd be talking about larger earthquakes more commonly across the California region. All right, space weather activity. Let's take a look here. I know we've had a couple large sunspots recently facing the Earth, or at least one of them. 4079 is no longer visible, way out there on the western limb. And we are left with not a whole lot. One area I've been watching here, it's still rather small, but it's got a little, look at that, little tiny baby magnetic complexity images there, little spots. That's trying to form, it looks like. That's going to be 4085. It has grown a little bit since last night, producing maybe some sea flare activity, it looks like. But we'll watch that, see if that doesn't turn into something rapidly that needs to be maybe monitored there for some larger flare activity. But right now, that's not going to happen. I don't see anything on the Earth-facing side of the sun that is worthy of any type of M-flare movement. I'm issuing a 1% chance or less for X-flare. Kevin, sometimes on the weekends here, he may not be all that active. That's why it's still showing here on the on his site. But 1% or less for X-flare. M-flare probably around 30 to 35% chance, maybe even less than that. But we'll see what happens. Coming around the bend. See what we got coming around the bend here. Where there is an active area out here. This is the eastern limb. Okay, this is just a flat scale layout of the sun. That's what it would look like in the sky if the sun was indeed flat. Just that's it. But it'd be visual, the whole thing. It's a ball. I'm not going to go into that. A sphere. There is some active areas out here. It looks like a pair of eyes about ready to creep around the eastern limb of the sun. That is 1 day old, so these may be a little bit closer here to the Earth-facing side right here. So we'll probably check that out tonight. Might be able to get a little visual of it, but it looks like an active area. Not anything huge, but I guess we'll see what happens when it comes into Earth-directed view. Storm Prediction Center for severe weather up around the Montana area and Yellowstone in Wyoming. Look like a slight risk for some severe weather out there right now. That is a typical pattern. Mainly in the summertime, right? This is due to a low pressure system that is not very typical for this time of year, bringing some cooler temperatures and rain up into the Pacific Northwest, but also stirring up storms here. 2% chance of tornado activity around Pocatello, Idaho. Got some wind and maybe a little bit of hail threats out there as well. Again, that's coming off of a massive low-pressure system. I want to show you guys this area real quick on the satellite view. It's a huge area of rotation, and that is a little rare for us here into the middle of May, but I'm not complaining. It's supposed to be only 80 degrees today here. Only 80 because the last couple days we've been in the high 90s, and that's coming here after this system moves out. Hundreds are upon us, at least here in Northern California here for pretty soon. So we're getting the tail end of that here across Northern California. That low pressure system there offshore going to continue to work its way eastward. There is some lightning and stuff already being reported there across Yellowstone. It looks like that's been happening this morning as well. That's probably why we're already seeing some of those thunderstorm rumbles across the seismograph stations there. That's been happening this morning. That will continue through the afternoon and maybe evening as that system there moves on inland and further increasing those chances of storms. But yeah, I'm loving the cooler weather. The wind's picking up out of the south. It's beautiful because I know what's coming, and it's going to be hot. A lot of hot conditions out here. It's just miserable here in the summertime in California, unless you're on the coast. But unfortunately, I'm inland here, surrounded by mountains. It's pretty much like a large Death Valley. And you get these downslope winds here that really cook things out here in the Sacramento Valley. All right, what else we got here, folks? Seismograph stations out there look calm, cool, collective. Not a whole lot going on. Maybe a couple spikes there on Mendocino, Northern California. That's around the Trimmer area. Keep an eye on that. A lot of times, and it's been, well, what was that, 2001? Had a deeper earthquake underneath Seattle. That was a result of sometimes the tremor activity gets stuck down, or the portion of the Pacific plate that is normally sliding past each other, called the slip zone, gets stuck. And even it can get stuck even further downstream than that, and we get these occasional larger quakes that happen underneath the area. I think they had a 6.5 or 6.7 way underneath Seattle, 2001, if I remember right. So occasionally we do get those. Hard to say. No guarantee anything's going to happen anytime soon, but we do have to watch when the tremor activity stirs up. It's just obviously increasing strain out there across the Cascadia. Alrighty, I'm out of here, folks. Going to go outside and enjoy the cooler, 80 degrees, I guess is cool for us. Windier weather out here. I love it. Have a good day. We'll catch you guys out here for the Sunday night update. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.